Welcome to DT Madness, Chronicles from the Third Life, episode 103, August 25th, 2024. So glad you could make it. 4 months till Christmas. Weird. Well, it's been a week. A good week, but a lot of DT madness going on here. Let's see, I got fired, rehired, retrained, fired. I burnt some stuff up. Mm, Been watching some MLS. No, let's uh, let's get all the. Is foibles the right word? I have to look up foibles and see if that's the right word. But not a lot of my best performances um, to this week. I had this side gig, and I was working for this company, and they're called Outliers, and it's pretty cool, man. I was working for them just as a little side hustle, as they say, and ultimately, I was helping to train AI chatbots on how to give better responses. Training them on a variety of whether it's are they accurate? Is it written well? All that kind of stuff. And um, honestly, I thought I got a notification. I read a notification because I did talk about this last week a little bit, and I thought, dang man, the AI is scouring the internet and it's finding that I'm talking about it, and that's why they've put me on notification that I violated the community guidelines. But I don't think that's what it was. I mean, it's just that I didn't really read the community guidelines. Like I skipped past all that stuff and just clicked I agree as you will. And I'm used to grading, for the College Board, for AP government exams and AP Psych exams. And in that scenario, like there is a timer and there is an expected pace. And I maintain the expected pace. In fact, I work pretty quickly and am able to get the stuff done. And so then I'll take some breaks, and I'm getting paid, during the breaks that I take, but I'm maintaining a level of quality and a level and an adequate pace. Again, outpacing other people. So it isn't just riding the gravy train for me, but I took that mentality into this particular into this side gig. And so, ultimately I would just give the thing uh, its prompt, and then allow it to give me two responses, and then I judge it based on that. And I would do that very quickly. It gave me a 2 hour timer, and so I would complete the tasks and let the timer go. So I'm getting paid. I mean, making whatever, not much, but it was cool, man. It was cool, and I made a couple $100, and but I got the notice that my account was suspended and under review. Um, there was this little bell up at the top of the page that had a little red dot, and I didn't click on it because it doesn't usually have stuff that I need to read, but this time it did, and it had two of them, and that's what's unfortunate because it told me the first time, hey, make sure you're following the community guidelines and not milking the clock, and I didn't read that one, and so I kept doing it, and the second time they put my account under review, man, I got fired from my side gig, and it made me a little bit sad, but I was like, okay, well, it's under review. Let me check back. So I checked back, and the platform was open for me again. And so it just required me. I got an email that was like, hey, this thing is called goldfish biscuits. And so I was doing the goldfish biscuits, and I went through the training again. I went through the process of retraining, which I thought, okay, they're making me go back through it, and that's fine. And I'll make sure and pay attention to the so-called community guidelines this time. Um, but I went through the training and then I finally clicked on start tasking, and it's like your queue is empty. And so I logged out and logged back in because sometimes that is necessary for this system. And when I logged back in, this was yesterday, it told me that my account was not active anymore because I had violated the community guidelines. And I'm like, well, dang, man, that's messed up because I gone back through the training. But we'll pay you for whatever you've done, but your account is no longer accessible. You can appeal this thing up to 14 days. So I did. I sent them a an email appeal, and I was honest, and I told them, I was like, okay, here's what I'm used to doing. I was doing my stuff, and it was good. You weren't giving me feedback. I was doing it the way you want me to, and I was getting a lot of them done. And but no excuses because I didn't read the guidelines and I didn't see it's supposed to send it to my email, but it didn't. Whatever. But I was like, no excuses. Let me back, and I will do it better next time. And, my heart wasn't in it though, like it really wasn't. But I don't want to be fired. I mean, this is really what it's about now. It's about the acceptance factor for me, and and so anyway, I mean, not long after, man, it was a few minutes. Ricardo, whether that's a real person or one of the bots, sent it back and it's like, nope, that's it, you're done. And so I'm like, well, dang. So I deleted my account. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't gonna do it anyway, not for minimum wage. I mean, it was $15 an hour. And I can complete 5 or 6 of these things in a matter of 30 minutes tops, but I'm not going to spend that much mental energy. I mean, like on top of teaching and coaching and mayoring. You understand what I'm saying? But like, I'm not doing that for minimum wage or what should be minimum wage anyway, $15 an hour. But dang, it did feel sad to get fired. So I did put a lot of Reese Pieces and other things on my ice cream because I was feeling sad. But anyway, so that happened. I spoke to the orientation last week, and that went really well. I just had a nice little, hey, it's all about the people. Just trying to say that and remind. And it was good to see some of the people there that I went to school with and who are hired in jobs now at Gardner Webb. And so a reminder that there's still some good people around. But I got up to give my speech, and I've got this joke about Boiling Springs where I talk about things that are going to happen at the stoplight, and I always follow that up by you know the one, and I'll give it that way because we only have one. And everybody knows that we only have one. And maybe it's because these people just got here and they're shell shocked or they're, whatever, but nobody even gave me a sympathy laugh, man. Like it was a tough, like nobody even on the stage with me snickered. So, man, my joke about the stoplight and, the one, it just didn't land. And that was tough. And there's still, there's still 2 more things. This is, this is a story that you can't make up. You ready? You ready for this, Fraser? All right. So I was eating my black bean burger because that's how I roll, and Sarah had cooked up the black bean burgers, and Sydney and I were sitting there eating them, and we had some French fries, and I'm a big, huge Panera guy now. I love Panera, and I love the Bravo sauce. I've talked about it, the Bravo turkey sandwich, and the Bravo. I was looking up what the Bravo sauce is, and ultimately it's like mayonnaise and ketchup mixed together and some other stuff. So I'm trying to make this mixture on my plate. Got it up so I can dip my French fries in it or whatever. It's just all over the place. And I don't remember. We were flipping back and forth between probably the Cincinnati Open tennis and Little League baseball. I think that's what was going on. And so a commercial came up and it was time to flip. And so I picked it up, and I'm an Apple TV guy. So in the living room, I've got the old school Apple TV remote, just the very small, thin, black. I mean, this thing is what? Maybe 3 inches, but it's really thin on the back. So I pick it up and trying to balance all the things. I got my plate on my lap, watching the TV, sitting around the table, and I dropped the remote, and I dropped the Apple TV remote, and it landed right into my attempted Bravo sauce mixture. And it didn't like land just a little bit on the corner or like, it landed flat face down so that now there's mayonnaise, ketchup, mixture type stuff all up in the cracks and all along the face of this thing. And I'm like, well, okay. Just like my friend JD used to say, spilt milk, clean it up. And so I get up, grab the paper towel, I spray it with a little bit of spray, this the paper towel, and then get the extra, the excess off, and then I'm spraying the remote a little bit, but not much because I don't want to get it all messed up. And you know, the the Apple TV remote is like at the top, it's got a little pad that you click, and then you can scroll with your finger, and there's some other buttons, and I'm just wiping and pressing and wiping and pressing and doing all the things to get the mixture off of my remote, but I didn't turn the TV off, and now I hear Isaac start yelling, "Hey, you better stop." Okay, because what had happened? Now think about this. First of all, how could you drop your remote in your mayonnaise ketchup mixture? Second of all, you're cleaning it off, you're not paying attention, and the buttons that you're pushing, the sequence of swipes and taps and presses and swipes with the paper towel and with your rag. I had scrolled away from YouTube TV, all right, onto the main Apple page, and I had ordered MLS Plus TV for the rest of the year. 49 bucks. Like I clicked confirm. I wasn't even I wasn't even watching. I was just cleaning the remote. And so here I am now. I've spent 50 bucks. This is a 50 bucks drop into my mayonnaise mixture, man. Oh, God. Thankfully, unlike the AI chatbot overlords, thankfully, I submitted my request to Apple TV. I canceled the thing immediately, submitted a request to them. Please cancel this. I didn't mean to do it. They didn't make me go into explanation of how, although surely they wouldn't have thought I would have made that up anyway. So I didn't have to pay for MLS Plus TV because I surely ain't watching that. So I got refunded. Yesterday, I'm cleaning the bathrooms. I'm blowing the driveway. It's a beautiful time of year for blowing the driveway because my huge oaks in the front are dropping their acorns, and so they get crunched and they get smushed, and all the stuff's falling down. And there's acorns, and you can go up to the top of the driveway and then just blow them all downhill. Oh, it's an amazing thing. I'm gonna do it here in just a second. So I'm blowing the driveway. I'm sweeping the floors. Sarah and Sid were gone. Isaac was playing tennis, and so it was just me here at the house. And I'm sweeping and I'm cleaning the bathrooms, and I got my music blasting. And but it was time to boil the toothbrushes. I boil my toothbrushes once a month or so, just because. Why wouldn't you? And so I go in there and I put the thing on in the pot, and I'm having to clean the drain too. I wish I could remember. There's this yellow can of stuff that has this powdery stuff in it that's like, don't get this on you or will burn your skin off. So I mean, I'm putting a bandana around my face. I've got my blue light glasses on. I've got my gloves on, and I pour this powder down the shower drain because it's been having some trouble draining, and put the water in there, and it does all its things. So I'm letting that happen. I'm in my bathroom now, cleaning the bathroom and dealing with that drain. And in the meantime, I go in there and because I had gone in, put the toothbrushes in the pot, and turned the burner on. And the thing is, I mean, it really isn't that difficult, but for whatever reason, it can get confusing about are you turning on the rear burner or the front burner? There's a nice little picture and everything, and there's even a word under it that says rear or front. And I have thrown shade at Sydney because sometimes she can't figure out which one it is. And I went in there and I thought to myself, like, make sure you turn, like, as I was doing it, this is the crazy thing. As I was doing it, I said, make sure you turn on the right one. And so I did, but I didn't. So I'm back here and I'm cleaning out the drains, and I'm scrubbing the toilets, and I'm trying to get the stuff off the shower stalls, and doing my bathroom clean like I do every week. And I start smelling something like, man, that doesn't usually smell like that when it's a when the toothbrushes are boiling. So I went back up to the front on the stove, the toothbrushes weren't even boiling. I'm like, dang, that's weird. And then I realized what is that the frying pan that's on the front burner, the one that's actually on high, has the two silicone um, spatulas in it, one slotted and one flat, and they're both melting away. And so that's what's making the smell. And there's smoke all in the living room. So I have to open up the windows and turn on the fan and cool down the spatulas before I throw them away. And then I've got to soak the big pan and ask the chatbot overlords how to make sure I can clean all the silicone off this pan. Then I blowed the toothbrushes, and now they're in good shape. So all that stuff was happening. But you know what? That's how it goes. It's just how it goes. And other things that have been going on, man. School's back in session. We did our first full week. Um, I still can't figure out my first period. I've thought about it this morning. Like, they definitely don't care about the Bill of Rights, and they definitely don't care about the Declaration of Independence. Like, that is not what is relevant to them. And so I'm going to try to figure out a way to make it and take it very local, maybe, and start local and talk about things that really will impact them. Although they're 15, man, so I don't know. I don't know. So that's going to be a challenge. The other classes are going great, man. The other classes are going very well. I'm a tennis coach, and that has been, I mean, it's draining, man. I'm pushing 12-hour days, and sometimes I'm pushing 14, 15-hour days. I love it now. I love it. And like designing practices and figuring out how to balance the different levels of ability out there. And then now we're into matches. And so like who to pair up in doubles. And I'm my kids are at a disadvantage because I don't know how to teach them tactics. I don't know how to adjust their tactics in the middle of a match. So those are things I've got to lean on. I'm selling raffle tickets to try to pad our tennis program budget. So if you want one, let me know. They're 3 for $20. The winning pot will probably take home around 100 grand. That's how it works here at the high school the last 3 years. We've done pictures, and I ordered uniforms, and now I'm hooking up this thing called the DT Coach DT Cup. I don't know. I'm workshopping the name, but we're gonna have an in season tournament with both traditional tennis type stuff and also some relay races and some like overhead who can do the best grunt, kind of thing. So I'm excited about all that, and it's gonna be super hot this week, man. It's gonna be tough playing on Thursday, um, but we'll figure it out, man. I really am enjoying doing the tennis coaching. I get to speak in a couple weeks at a rural studies course. It's an honors seminar course at Gardner Webb, and I guess I'm a rural mayor. I don't guess I am. I'm a rural mayor, and also I'm a government teacher, and so the professor asked if I would come speak at that class and answer some questions. I've got 10 walls written down. I'm going to save that down here for the very last question. I got some new books, but I just can't open them up. I think once school gets into session, like this week, we'll add another, what? Add another thing into that hot frying pan on the front burner, and that is announcing Crest High School football. We open up, so that'll be Friday night. Um, but I love that too, man. Oh, can't wait. Uh, but yeah, I got two new books. One is Kristen Hannah. I can't remember. I think it's about the winter or something or another. Mm, I don't know. I can't remember. But also on the recommendation of my friend Matt Orth, I got a new Stephen Erickson book, which is about our first encounter with AI, or the first encounter. I read the Malazan series by Erickson. It's 10 books, phenomenal. He's kind of a sociologist, and that's appealing to me. But we'll see, man. I'm trying to get back into the new books. Tomorrow starts the U.S. Open, and we can't wait to watch all the tennis we possibly can. Um, yeah, I've some pictures popped up this past week of when my dad was out building our two wooden outbuildings, and he was up on the roof putting the shingles on, and Sam was up there with him, and it was Mm, what, 5-year old Sam? And it brought to mind like working on a building by Old Mendel Way. If you haven't heard it, you should dial it up today. If I was a preacher, I'd tell you what I would do. I'd quit my preaching and I'd work on a building too. Yeah, and that was my dad, man. That was my dad. He just did it. He didn't say it out loud. What is them Cooley Boys and the sunrise sunset sermons? Love is not a real thing in the broader themes. It's not a it's not something you just say from the pulpit. It's getting out, making it happen. You know. But I'll talk more about pop next week. I've got some things here, but I don't think I'm ready to say it out loud here on the podcast. And also, it's next Saturday. Next Saturday will be 1 year since my dad passed away, and that's it's both bizarre that it has been only a year and bizarre that it has been a year, and that's one of those tricks that time plays on our perception. Um, but yeah, that's that. Let's take a little halftime break. Although really, we're just gonna um, let that be the first quarter and this be the second quarter. I got a couple more questions that I want to answer from some of the people who sent them in. Somebody asked me what was the best thing about my teen years. I've thought about that a little bit, man. We had a good time. We had a good time. It's been 30 years ago since we were crest crazies, taking our shirts off at the football games and painting up. 30 years ago, I was the first R in Chargers, and we won the state championship. Our football team won the state championship, so we got to go to Chapel Hill and that kind of stuff, and young life trips and hanging out on Sundays and eating at Hannah's and driving around. And ultimately, though, what it is it was the people that we call the 9-6, all the guys that I graduated with, and now I work for one of them, and I get to see them on the regular 30 years later. And that's pretty cool. Most prized possession? I don't know, man. I don't know. That's tough. Because, like, of course, my blower, but I mean, I could get another one of those. It's not like this particular blower is amazing. My Birkenstocks, my Oakley sunglasses, which I do need new of both of those. So, Mom, if you're listening, and I know it won't be long before you ask for the Christmas list. 4 months from today, right? Oh man, I don't know. Like, I've thought about trying to get rid of the phone and go to a flip phone to just erase all of this stuff. But I do like promoting the tennis team. I like the social media for that. I mean, I'm doing it right here. I couldn't do this on a flip phone. I couldn't listen to my music too. So I don't know. My most prized possession, maybe my bookshelf and the books that I have. Um, no, that's a tough one. That's always a tough one for me because stuff is not really important. I don't. I'm not a hoarder type person. Favorite travel memory? Got a lot of these too. I don't know, man. It's just um, I'm gonna go with this one when we all went to Chicago and we were there to see the Cubs play. The five of us, the Gucci fam, and um, we saw Kyle Schwarber hit a walk off home run, and immediately it goes into go Cubs go, and the W flag flies there at Wrigley Field, and Sam got it on video. So that was awesome. But a lot of good travel memories. Which artist do you like even more because of the artists themselves? I could talk about Acoustic Syndicate because I know those people personally. But people that I don't know personally, I would say again Fish, because Trey has gone through this process of hitting bottom and dealing with addiction and overcoming it, and now not only telling his story of sobriety, but also building foundations in Vermont um, that are helping people. And so he's putting his experience and his wealth into helping other people deal with what he's dealt with, and then you can hear it in his lyrics. And so anytime I hear interviews, I mean, I don't know him personally, but But that is part of the reason why I um, do love fish. What good habit have you been able to stick with? Well, it isn't not eating ice cream. And my diet hasn't like completely fallen off the rails, but I've definitely been crushing some ice cream. And man, come on, man. I asked the Google AI. So this is how I know they're not quite ready to take over. I was like, what's the best way for me to break the habit of eating ice cream every night? And the first answer is when you want that ice cream, just drink a glass of water, and that'll probably solve your craving. I'm like, come on, man. That is not even anywhere close. Um, but whatever. I got some Maxi B's. Sarah and Sydney stopped off at Maxi B's, the cupcake place in Greensboro, and I got my cappuccino chocolate. There's two of them waiting in there for me. There's no way either of them is making it through this day, and we'll see um, how far they go. But the good habit that I have been able to stick with, kind of related to Trey and the artist that I'm talking about, is my addictions are relatively tamed. In terms of consuming alcoholic beverages or anything like that. It's been almost 4 years since I've had a single drop, and I'm really glad about that. It does make me feel a lot healthier and clearer of mind. What person have you enjoyed working with the most? Man, I love the social studies department. I love it. It's awesome. I love working with Jones, and I've loved working with Mr. Green and Milne. Whatever, Peeler, whoever, all the people that have come and go. I shouldn't even start. I love working with Shields and Robeson, so I shouldn't even have started naming names. But Good man, like he's my guy. So anyway, I love working where I work because I could rattle off names and continue to do that. What would you go back and do differently if you could? That's always a weird question. But you know what? If I could do it differently, then I would have gone to see Sarah at Living Lotus, and gotten into dealing with the trauma therapy a long time ago. A while ago. I'm glad for my journey, and I'm never one to try to take away. The times that I've fallen on my face, the times that I've really struggled have led me to be here. I really like the song 28 by Zach Bryan. I don't know what he's really talking about, but um, it's like it took all the blood pumping through my veins up until now to lead me to this. So yeah, I think getting into the therapy a little bit earlier in my life would have been amazing, um, but I'm glad that I did it. And maybe I wasn't ready until then. I don't know how that works. Worst date you ever went on? Okay. So we went on a double date, and me and my guy Gabe, we went on this double date with two Shelby girls. And I was driving the old Ford Escort. I must have just been 16. And there's this hill over in Shelby where you can kind of jump it, like it's a severe drop off. And the girls are all like, "Hey, yeah, let's go do that." And the Ford Escort, right? Okay, so we launch the first time I'm going, whatever. Probably like 25, 30, not like 50. But I'm doing that, and because we're headed to the movies. And the first time I chickened out and kind of hit the brakes before, and we didn't even, it was barely like you could even tell the hill. And they're like, "Oh man, whatever, do it again." So I do it again, and this time we get airborne, and I'm like four tires airborne, like we're off. But the stupid thing is that there's a hairpin turn to the left right after. Like, not I don't know, not 30 yards after you land. So I lock up the brakes in the air. We're probably only off the, it's not like, you know, Duke's a hazard or anything, but like we are definitely off the ground a little bit. And so I lock the brakes. And so when I hit, I skid, knock the right rear view mirror off the right side view mirror off the car. All right. Drive a little bit longer up to this food line place, which isn't far from where we were. And my my tire goes flat. Well, I don't even know how to change the tire yet. Like I haven't been driving long at all. Thankfully, my brother was home from college, and um, he came to help me change that tire. And then we went, I think we went on to the movies. I think we did. I think we went on to the movies. And, but man, I'm just like, of course oh crap. I told my parents, sorry, mom, and I'd started confessing this some years ago, like a decade or so ago. I was confessing this at mom and dad's dinner table while we were there with the kids eating. And mom was like, just don't tell me anymore. I don't want to know this. So you can maybe fast forward a little bit, mom, if you're listening. Um, but yeah, I was like, oh yeah, there's this animal that ran out in front of me and I had to swerve. That was kind of my excuse to get away with it. Um, and then yeah, that girl wasn't, yeah, anyway, she wasn't even totally into me after that or guys at all. So yeah, that was some kind of date there. What, who or what brings out your worst qualities? Hmm. Probably competition. Hmm. I don't know. I'm getting better at that. I really am getting better at that as a tennis coach. Being late. Like not being on schedule. That's probably that's probably it. I get pretty huffy. I'm working on it too. Which first world problem do you have? Listen, let me tell you about this, okay? Because I can just walk into the upper teacher's lounge and I don't even have to walk all the way in there and I can glance over and see if there's anything in my teacher mailbox. But they moved where my teacher mailbox is and they do this to me every single year. So now I'm having to retrain my body and retrain my nervous system. Where am I? Like, just leave my box where it is. But no, they've reorganized it and whatever. Dang it. Um, what do you wish you didn't care about? I don't know. I wish I didn't care about the kids that go to the bathroom all the time, like that are just getting out of class because it gets me so mad. And I'll try to, I don't know, like I'm trying to be the sheriff of all that. And that's a stress that I just don't, that shouldn't be on me. There should be somebody else dealing with that because it isn't my kids. Anyway, physical trait that society cares about but doesn't appeal to you. Mm, well, whatever. I mean, I guess I'm not a big understander. It really isn't about appeal or not appeal, but I just don't understand the like eyelashes and eyebrows, like kind of thing. Like I don't know why you make them so straight, and I don't know. I don't get all that. But anyway, and then last one. What do you agree with from the opposite side of the political spectrum? Well, plenty. And I'm registered I'm an unaffiliated voter in North Carolina because I'm not a party guy, not a partisan. I've voted for various candidates of different political parties, both main parties and third parties, since 1996, since I've been 18 and able to vote. Um, and I don't subscribe to I've got to vote one way because of one particular issue, except for maybe this time. Not really one particular issue, but I did see a thing, and I'd mentioned Tim Walz. Somebody mentioned that I reminded them of Tim Walz, and I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. He was a social studies teacher, football coach, compassionate dad. I love the kid, his kid Gus getting up and like he's trying to hold himself together. His first time his dad's ever been in a moment like this, so his emotions are just overwhelming. But he's so hyped up. He's like, "That's my dad." I love that junk, man. Um, and whatever policy is is a different thing for me this time. I'm not voting on policy other than education policy. And I told my mother-in-law that who normally wouldn't vote for anybody with a D beside their name. But I was like, look, this is what I do. I am an educator. I work in public education, and I only got a few years left. But your grandson, my oldest boy is going into be a public school teacher, and the R's this time want to end the Department of Education. And that would have a significant impact on what we do. And so, yeah, there's a policy issue for you, but it's just a different thing, man. Like there's this. I saw a quote, maybe it was the Atlantic, or I think actually it was Axios, and Axios had an article about how there's different types of masculinity. Like, what is the meaning of masculinity? And that's kind of a question in this election. I guess it has been the last couple, but you take Tim Walz and you take, what's his name? Kamala Harris's husband. Can't remember. Imhoff. And, some of those guys. And, like, Walls is a dude, man. Like, he's a crack shot. He's a hunter. He's a football coach. He's giving pep talks instead of a policy speech. He's talking about the playbook and driving it down the field. And I mean, like, he's a Nebraska guy originally. So you say what? I don't know him. I don't know him personally, but the vibe, that's the vibe. And like, but these guys are gentle. They're human. And there's, like, in contrast, there's a guy that has the Trump flag, and whatever, you do your thing, But this morning at like 7:50 a.m., everything's so nice and quiet in small town America, small town Sunday, 7:50 a.m., and this guy's revving up his Mustang engine that's obviously souped up, and revs it up really loud and comes flying down the road making as much noise as he can. And whatever, like, I used to have a Mustang. Now, granted, it was an old beat up 86 that I called Melba T, but I understand horsepower. Like, the truck that I drive now has a Hemi in it, and it will go. I get it. And I like that feeling. So I don't know if this guy's malicious, like letting everybody know what he's got, or if he's just inconsiderate, but it's one of those. Because it's 7:50, people are sleeping. Or they're preparing to go to church, things like this. And there's that macho, whatever. And then you got Tim Walz, who, again, it's not like he's not a man. It's not like he's not masculine, but he also is tender towards his kids. He's also a football coach that recognizes that people are different. There's a gentleness, There's a gentleness. And I asked the AI machines, where does gentleness show up in the Bible? Because the loud Mustang people, they are talking about, we got to take America back because of religion. And they would point to Christianity, but I just don't know which book they're reading. Because you could find gentleness all throughout the scripture, talking about Jesus and Jesus saying it. Let your gentleness be evident to all, says Paul in Philippians. And then you could ask it about, what does it say about being tough? Or what does it say about fighting? What does it say about being macho? And you're not going to find much. In fact, what you're fighting against is worry. You're fighting against fear, but you do that with the comfort of the Spirit, which is the spirit of gentleness and mercy. Anyway, I'm just increasingly less quiet about that aspect. Again, I'm not talking about policy. I get the policy differences, and I don't guess I agree with all the policies that the Harris Walls ticket would support. And I suppose that there are some policy issues that the Trump vance. Have you seen this guy in the donut shop? Anyway. But this one isn't so much about policy as it is about what it means to be human, because I would argue that if you're not gentle and you don't have humility and you're not merciful, then you're not a man. Like, you're more manly with those types of things because you're more fully human. But that's my argument about that. So I guess that was about the opposite side of the political spectrum. Take that with you. Well, this has been a Church of Six production, brought to you by the Bucket of Life. Make your ripples. The rope of relationship. The foundation tower of stone. The wall of belief. The token of hope. And the magic rock times one. One received and one given. Mercy. Gentleness. humility, grace, peace, patience. These are the fruit of the Spirit. Nothing divine is desperate. In order to be, try to never seem, and may all your circumstances serve to awaken compassion. As you go, teach peace. Don't forget to believe, y'all, and be live. Grace and peace, my friends.